welcome to another episode of Ask the Doulas. I'm Melissa, and today I'm so excited to be talking with my friend Bri. Hey, Bri.
Hi, everybody.
She is with Better Body Image Conference, and we did an event together. How many months ago was
It was this March. Or wait, no.
Was it this year?
It was this year.
Okay.
Doesn't it feel like it was last
Forever
year?
ago.
It was, this year, March, I believe, 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. It feels like eons ago.
Yeah. Well, maybe since I mentioned it, tell everyone a little bit about what that conference was, and then at the end we can ask you more information. But yeah.
So that conference was a way to connect people in the community with different organizations that are very passionate about body image and just the mental and physical health, as well as social change that can happen in our communities around that certain issue. And so Gold Coast Doulas actually did a workshop on body image with pregnancy and postpartum bodies and had a lot of intimate conversations with different moms or even moms to be. So
yeah, we loved that conversation.
Yeah.
It was like when our time was up, I remember someone came in and they were time's up. Everyone's like, no, like we just got started. So it'd be fun to continue that conversation at another point.
Definitely.
Or even to have a podcast about it. That could be a good one too.
Do a mini event. We're trying to do mini events now too.
Okay.
But we'll talk later.
Yeah. So Bri and I see each other all around, and the last event we went to, it was just, again, the postpartum time with moms comes up a lot. It's just a topic that we always talk about. And you even spoke to the group about the struggles that you had. So I think I just want to kind of continue that conversation, the two of us together, and let's just have a real conversation about what it was like for you having a baby. And did you struggle during pregnancy too?
During pregnancy, I struggled more physically.
Okay.
I had a lot of the sciatic nerve pain that a lot of people have, so I did go see, in my third trimester, it was weekly appointments to my DO just to get adjusted. But the mental health was still okay there. I think as soon as I had my baby, it was a very, I even had a lot of blood loss. I almost hemorrhaged too during it. So I think when I had my kid, I was just exhausted, and I remember them putting him on me and just being like, hey, there's a baby there, but not really feeling that instant love because I was just so exhausted and tired. And so from that first point, I'm like, whoa, I was told I was supposed to feel instant love, instant excitement, and I was just worn out. And that's
you weren't the photo of the mom in the hospital looking lovingly down at her baby. You were
no,
just let me sleep.
Yeah, I was just
what's on my chest?
And then I even had to get walked to, when I went to the bathroom, another blood clot passed. I almost actually passed out. I remember telling the nurse, I can't hear anything, but I know you're there. I'm starting to not to be able to see. I'm just letting you know. So that was my experience, which some people even have it crazier than that. But I think I was just trying to make sure I was awake enough to be there for my, not passing out, to be there for him more than, oh my gosh, I didn't have that moment to really be understanding what was happening because of my health at that point in time. And then after that, I do have a history in my family, and I have anxiety and depression, which I feel is not a fair combination to have. It's you get anxious, and then your thoughts race, and then you feel bad about yourself, and then it's just a cycle. Mm-hmm. So I've learned over time coping strategies and things like that, and
this is something you struggled with
even before
having a
baby. So I knew. So
you knew that your risk after was so much higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And so I remember coming home, and we entered the door, and I just was bursting into tears, and I knew. I also have a hard time with transitions. I take them a lot harder than most people, and so I knew even with that it was gonna be a little bit harder.
Probably the biggest transition of your life thus far.
Very true. So I was super honest. That's the thing my mom taught me when growing up. She's like, our family has these things. I'm going to tell you. And you just, if you feel anything, make sure you tell people. So her training me in middle school with that still helped. And so I was able to just let people know, I know that I'm feeling these things. And logically and practically, I shouldn't be sad. I shouldn't be like this. it's just so hard to fight that. And then I was like anxious at night because I was worried for him and just wanted to make sure he was okay, my baby. And then I was kind of like depressed during the day just because that anxiety wore me out. And I would go and sleep in the sun on our hammock because it was summerish time just to get like some sunlight. I actually did talk to my doctor, and I did start taking medicine as soon as I could after getting out of the hospital, just because I had taken those before. They were, I think, it's like Zoloft is what I took even before him. So I was doing all the things to try to do that, but I wasn't being very like compassionate to myself to just let myself be. And so I think my word of advice, encouragement to people is, if you are feeling those feelings, and as long as you're voicing them and getting help and asking for support, just don't beat yourself up too much. You're already doing so much. And it's hard not to beat yourself up, but you've got this whole new world that's going on, and you deserve to also be understanding to yourself, and you're trying to understand what's happening.
Did actually getting on medicine seem to help, or not enough?
It seemed like it helped a little bit, but it was still like learning a new system, learning a new normal, learning what this means. And it really does take a village. My mom helped a lot. I had different friends that were helping. I needed a lot of support of my husband. There were times where we would wake up together at night with the baby because it was just nice having, even if he was just sitting next to me, just having that person there. And so, yeah, it was hard. I think also I was just, my anxiety I knew was there because I remember just being so worried, is he eating enough? Is he getting enough food? And I would like line up these bottles and then I would just like obsessed with like counting and all that kind of thing. And to a point that was detrimental. And I remember I was like over pumping, and just like all I was doing was pumping and taking care of my kid and eating, and that's all I was focusing on for like a few weeks. And I remember my husband pulling out all the milk from the freezer, and he's like, there are 30 bags of 4-ounce milks here. He is getting fed enough, and you've got enough. I just think I was worried about my stock because I have to go back to weddings and I have to go back to work, and I was a wedding photographer, and just like trying to make sure my stock was there. And like
anxiety turned a little bit OCD, it sounds.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I just like to be open about it because I feel like a lot of people have their own experience of what goes on, whether it's they have anxiety or depression or not, but we're usually always looking to someone to tell us, which is what I did. I would ask all these different people of, what did you do? What did you do? Or what was your experience? What was your experience? And none of their experiences were like mine, so I felt like I was doing something wrong. When in reality, everyone has their own unique experience, so don't compare yourself to someone else's postpartum story. Just let yours be yours and know that the one constant is that everyone's journey is going to be different, and that's okay, and that's good. But I think sometimes too, we just want to do it right because that's what we're told in our society, like do it the right way. And there's really no right. The only right way is making sure your baby's fed, has shelter, and that they're loved. And how the system happens for that is up to you and up to what your body and like your family is able to do. I did end up doing I stopped breastfeeding at 9 months just because he started not being interested anymore. It'd be like 2 minutes and then, hey, what's over here? He'd be looking around, and then he was always kind of a chomper, and I never discouraged that because I didn't understand at the time, and my lactation consultant was like, uh-oh. And so I was about done once he had teeth too. So for me, that ended at 9 months, and then we did formula, and sometimes people have to supplement or do both or do all formula, and it doesn't really, it's like whatever works for anybody.
By the time you got to the 9-month mark and weaned him, did that help your mental health in and of itself, or had you gotten pretty much to a better place by that point?
It did actually help my mental health even more, just because then it was one less thing to think about, one less thing to, and I do think I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but I think your hormones after you're done breastfeeding, do they kind of like normalize more? Or
I feel like they're always fluctuating after you have your baby.
No.
5.5 years later, I still think mine are all wacky.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I think I felt a little bit less, maybe it wasn't chemically after stopping breastfeeding, but at least just like one less thing to have to do.
Well, there are hormones involved because, there's the hormones that actually that allow you to produce the milk. So they are changing. But I think for someone with anxiety who's worried about breastfeeding and pumping and how much milk, now you can give them solid foods in a bottle that's very, very quantifiable.
And it's like, and I don't have to worry about producing that. It's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. So, and again, like you said, everyone's story is different. For some moms, weaning becomes a source of depression because now it's the end of this time with your baby that you'll never get back.
That's true.
So you really can't compare.
No, no comparing whatsoever. I thought of wanting to make some sort of book, and it wouldn't be photo, it would be more of just stories, and it would be like everyone's experience postpartum, like just different people's stories of postpartum, and then you can gift it to people who are pregnant, but tell them not to read this until you feel like you want to read other people's stories, like after you've had your kid, and maybe you're like tearing your hair out, like what is going on, like in the thick of it, and then you can see, look, everyone's had a different experience, and that's okay, because it's something that you don't want to take away from their pregnancy experience with like, we don't want to scare people, we don't want to also say, well, this is what I went through, so you should go through that same thing. But having a collection of those stories and being like, when it just seems like so much and you don't know if what you're doing is right, look at all these people and they did it right. Their kid is healthy. Your kid will be healthy. And there's all different experiences. And
they did what's right for their family.
Yeah. So
in that moment.
Yeah. But that's one idea I had recently. I have too many ideas, but
Never too many. Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that really all that baby needs is food, shelter, and love. And that's how I end my newborn survival classes. I'm like, all this information that I gave you, if you get nothing else out of this, is keep it simple, because there's just way too much information out there. And Dr. Google's telling you one thing and your neighbor's telling you another thing and your mom and your mother-in-law are conflicting with things. Keep it simple and give this baby food and love and shelter. Like, that's all this baby needs. The rest is just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine and you're going to be great parents.
Definitely.
Just keep it simple.
Yep. I love that.
Anything else about your postpartum journey? How old's your son now?
He is 1.5 years.
Yeah.
So. And
how is the, from the 9-month weaning period to, 12 months walking, like how has your journey been?
So he actually we actually went to food therapy for him too. So we weaned him at 9 months off of breast milk, and then we did formula. We noticed he was having trouble eating solids. He would like try to eat it and try to swallow, but then he would gag, and sometimes to the point of vomiting. And so at first I'm like, maybe it's just something, he's doing it and he's learning, but it would happen a lot. And so I actually got a request to go to Mary Free Bed, and they were wonderful there. They actually said, yes, he has silent reflux, and so that is why this is happening. And then they were showing how, like, his tongue wasn't working in the correct ways to swallow correctly and, like, even get all the food out of his mouth that he was eating. So we went there for a few sessions, and then I just did stuff at home. Also, that, of course, didn't help my anxiety, but that's okay. It really taught me to be patient and to be understanding, and being a part of Better Body Image. Like, I don't want his relationship with food and his body to be stressed from the beginning. He needs to have me be calm so he doesn't get a bad relationship with that food from the start. And he needed more of me to be patient and calm then. And he now is doing great. Like, he's weaned off of bottles now. He does do a bottle of water for comfort sometimes, but he's drinking his sippy cups. He's eating lots of food. Our magical food we found that he just could do really well was cottage cheese. and he loves it, and he'll eat tons of it, and now he's doing better. He actually ate noodles last night, and he usually never eats noodles, and he ate some chicken, and I was like, whoa. So and it was just really exciting. So that's kind of his food journey has been more unique, but it's been really good for me because I'm able to understand the signs better. And he's a healthy, happy boy. He likes to play. He's very extroverted. So he likes to go up to people and talk to them. And right now it's like half gibberish, half sentences. Mm-hmm. And the other day I was like washing dishes while he was eating some snack, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, whoa, you just...
a full sentence.
Yeah, I'm like, out of nowhere. But I always ask him that all the time, like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And so I thought that was funny. And I'm just like, well, I'm washing dishes, Soren. Like, that's what I'm doing right now. He's so sweet. And then the other day, my husband said, "Hey, did you go to the doctor today?" And then he looked at him and goes, "I didn't do it." And then just went and played. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So it's been a really fun journey. And I'll say, like, I know I wouldn't be the same without having him as my son. There's something about having a child that does change you in different ways, and it challenges you to be a better version of yourself, more patient, just like perseverance to like a different degree, and being able to function on less sleep. So you still want to get enough sleep, but you realize how much you can actually do in a day versus when you didn't have a kid. Like, whoa, I'm so much more efficient in certain ways. So
I'm definitely more productive. My time is so important. I get so much done, it's very valuable. I'll say that.
Yeah, very valuable and efficient.
So do you feel like then even though you're probably for your whole life you're going to struggle with depression and anxiety, that you're just learning different ways to cope with these new developmental milestones, and instead of internalizing everything, maybe, and it sounds like your husband, it maybe is like mine, where he's like rational.
He's
and
very
says,
calm too.
"Hey, let's look at all these bottles you've got laid out and you're counting and all the supply." You know, my husband did the same thing for me when I was struggling with breastfeeding. He was like my voice of reason. Mm-hmm. So finding somebody like that you can talk to and say, okay, how in my mind, like, how can you calm me down? Tell me something that's rational. Validate me that, okay, I understand you're feeling this way, but let's look at
this
outcome or this.
I definitely think so. I think I've learned with him to let go of control more. Like, I'll still always I'm a planner and I like to do stuff like that, but I'm trying to let go of control more. And then what's another thing? I think also having self-compassion more. Which is my new thing I like to teach people about. But just being compassionate towards myself makes things a little bit less extreme or less anxious. Like, okay, so whoops, I lost my temper or something at my son because I was up here and there were so many different things going on that day. Well, I make sure to apologize and hug him, and then that's that. Like, I forgive myself and I don't dwell on it. In the past, I would have then the whole rest of the day just dwelling on that, or any event that happens, dwelling on every single thing. And there's too many things that happen in a day that can bring you down, and if you just take each of them so much and internalize, like you said, internalizing it, you're going to drive yourself crazy, and it's just not fair to yourself. So I think also embracing that life is always going to throw you different things, and that's just the also constant that you can know. And accept that, and don't put too much expectations. It will also be a little bit easier too.
My journey is very similar to yours. I think I didn't realize that I ever had anxiety until I had a kid, because I went through a lot of the same struggles you did.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different exercises I use like daily too. If my mind starts to spiral, I like stop that thought and I go, okay, is this feeling could be valid, but is this thought truth, or is it like not like it can be a lie or something, truth or a lie? Is this really something that I should think about to that extent? No, it's probably not. So let's
all
stop
the would've, could've, should've's, right? Like all these things that could happen. Well, it didn't happen. It probably won't happen. So why am I dwelling on this?
Exactly. Why is
intrusive thought that I'll never have to deal with.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally get it. Well, you have your own podcast. Tell us the name of that and where people can find it.
So that podcast is called Compassionately You, and you can find it on iTunes and Google Podcasts. It's also on my website at briluginbill.com/podcast. And there I just host conversations where I have people on and they talk about either a personal journey or a body image journey, and we talk in vulnerability in hopes of inspiring other people, or if someone went through a similar situation, they can relate and feel that they're not alone. And we also usually feature people's businesses in there as well during that podcast. So
cool. And then you said you're going to try to do, so the Better Body Image Conference is a once a year? You can do it every year?
Yeah, once a year. We are set for next year.
Okay.
Same place, Wealthy Street Theater, on March 2nd, 2019. So we're set for that date. And actually our speaker is going to be Diane Bondi, who's in the yoga world. But we are looking into, and we have done a few like mini events where we just partner with an organization or a few, and we host who knows what it can be, but we host different types of mini events. One was a re-showing of the movie that we showed at our conference this year. I think we are going to possibly be partnering with an organization this December to do another event, and then there might be some in the works for January as well.
Where do you promote those?
We usually promote them on our website and our Facebook page, so it's betterbodyimageconference.com, which also just got a redesign. One of our board members is a designer, and the lovely Brittany redesigned it, and it has pictures from last year. I think actually our main header image is a picture during the Gold Coast Doulas workshop.
I'll have to look. I didn't know you redesigned. I'll have to look.
We just did it this week.
Okay.
She's been working hard on that. And so that's a lot of fun there. So
Awesome. Well, thanks again for doing this.
Yeah.
It's always great to see you and talk to you, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story.
Definitely. Thanks for having me. And if people wanted to follow, I'm pretty vulnerable with just life. It's on my Instagram page.
Okay.
So Instagram, it's just at Bri Luginbill. So I just try to be super vulnerable in my days and let people know, like, hey, if you're having this type of time, I might be too. So.
Well, you can always find us at our website, goldcoastdoulas.com, Instagram, and Facebook as well. So hopefully we'll talk to Bri again sometime soon, and hopefully everyone has a great day.